Welcome to another edition of USD 239 School Update. I'm Superintendent Vignery, and today's topic will be about the Kansas Can define success for the state of Kansas on what a successful high school student graduate looks like in the state of Kansas. And prior to this, the state of Kansas had to follow a federal mandate of No Child Left Behind to find out what student success looked like there. And so throughout No Child Left Behind, our students had to take math and reading assessments yearly, and each year we had to improve on those assessments percentage-wise from 2002 all the way up to 2014. At 100% of our students needed to reach that we call it AYP, adequate yearly progress. And during that time, you'll see as I talk here in a little bit, I'll show you show you the screen on some of the results of that. But since then, 2014, since that ended, the federal government gave each state an opportunity to turn in their own plan for student success. And during that time, Kansas put a plan together, and it was approved by the federal government. And Kansas's plan basically says a successful high school graduate has the academic preparation, cognitive preparation, technical skills, employability skills, and civic engagement to be successful in post-secondary education, in the attainment of an industry-recognized certification, or in the workforce without the need of remediation. And outcomes that they'll measure for progress over time that the school districts in the state of Kansas have to keep track of is kindergarten readiness, individual plans of study, high school graduation rates, post-secondary completion and attendance, and social emotional growth measured locally. So how did they come up with that, with those requirements, those measurements that they're asking for school districts to take a look at? If you look at this next slide here, in 2020, or by 2020, the workforce, what's required or what's available, I should say, by that time, research has told us, has shown us that by that time in 2020, just here in Kansas, 29% of jobs available will need a high school diploma or less. 35% of jobs available in Kansas will require at least a 2-year degree or a technical college degree such as Beloit Tech or Salina Tech or Washburn Tech, and then 25% will require a bachelor's degree, and then 11% more will require a master's. And so we know what the job market looks like for the state of Kansas. You compare that across the United States. Across the United States, 36% just need a high school diploma, whereas state of Kansas, there's only 29% of those jobs available. You look at the data back in the 70s, you can see that 72% of all jobs only required a high school diploma. So we know that things have changed. Everyone knows that over the years. And so that's kind of been the driving force of what Kansas has looked at, what is needed across the state as far as employment for what Kansas needs. And so when you take a look at those things, once again, we looked at what will it take to have our students be prepared. And we go back to No Child Left Behind. If you look at this graph, you can see that each year we had to continue to improve. And each year, North Ottawa County did. Yeah, state assessments just kept going up and kept going up, and we kept improving, kept doing the things we had. The state of Kansas kept improving. They kept hitting the mark. But the one thing that we've learned through some post-secondary data is that student achievement doesn't always equal student success. And the one thing that I want to point out here is you take a look at this next slide here, is take a look at the green bar. That's post-secondary enrollment, basically over the ending times of No Child Left Behind. Enrollment for post-secondary, once again, which includes your community colleges, your technical colleges, your four-year schools, private, public, all those. You can see that in the over that 5-year span, that enrollment actually went down in post-secondary. And if you look at the retention, it also went down. Students who remained in school over that same time period. And then we have remediation. That's the blue line there. And that remediation just means those students that went into college, whether it be a junior college or the four-year college, that they had to take a remedial algebra course, or they had to take a remedial English 1 class or English 2 class. And just so you know, when you're taking a remedial class, you're paying for it, but you don't get a credit hour for it. So this is the data that the state of Kansas has used to kind of compare with state assessments that we geared up for every year, and always accused of teaching to the test so we can make sure that our results look good. You know, and I think it's somewhat been a relief for many educators across the state of Kansas that is no longer the necessary focal point. Although academics are important, but during this time frame of the 2014 and beyond, our state commissioner went across the state of Kansas to take a look at, to visit with business and industries, communities, to find out what they wanted to see a high school graduate come away with, or what they wanted to see as an employer in their business. And so they came away with a lot of great information, and at first it was kind of surprising, but then when you kind of take a look and you see what today's job markets look like, with the 5 years down the road of jobs that have not even been created yet, that we don't even know, the skills that our kids need in the future that maybe we never needed. And some of these skills, which, be surprised, the general community basically said that, take a look at this screen, 70% said that non-academic skills are most important, where 23% said we think academic skills are important. So when you're talking non-academic skills, you're talking about the cognitive skills, you're talking about more or less your thinking skills and being able to work with others, your soft skills, being responsible, being on time, time management, just the different aspects of that. That was the communities. The actual businesses said that 81% non-academic skills and 15% academic skills. So even the businesses recognize that what students need coming out of high school, coming out of college, what's important for their businesses and what our students need. Same thing if you take a look at the Kansas, across the United States. Across the United States, that same type of poll was given, and 99% say that learning, persistence, dependability, teamwork is the most important aspect, whereas 68% say academic skills or your ACT score. So we know that what businesses are looking for once you do either graduate high school or graduate from college. So we just know that the state of Kansas continues to look at this data to best prepare our kids for their future. Harvard, Stanford, the Carnegie Foundation all cited, they all came up with the thing that 85% of job success comes from having well-developed soft skills and people skills, whereas 15% of that job comes from the technical skill and knowledge, the academic part of it. And so, once again, just to reiterate what I'm saying, basically these critical thinking skills, communication skills, teamwork, that's what's considered to be, what's vital and what's most important coming out of high school. We're not minimizing the academics. The academics are just as important. You need to have those academic skills to move on. But we have to find a way now. We're being measured by the state of Kansas on how can we measure that? How can we give our students those opportunities? And a Gallup poll in 2015 surveyed over 900,000 students, and it found that in junior high, when kids become 7th graders, their engagement with school just drops, and each year until they graduate, it just continues to drop and drop and drop. And so it is important. It is important to find different ways to be able to engage our students. They just start to lose interest in school. We have to find ways to continue to make school relevant for our students. We need to find ways to challenge our kids. And studies tell us that students think they can improve and learn and become better when they do feel challenged. Students become engaged when they begin to see success, when they feel like skill and effort was part of it. Control. Students feel like they control their own learning and fate. They feel more engaged. So when we give more opportunity for students to take on their learning, to be the owner of their learning, and how we educate them, when students feel like they are the ones that get to be responsible for their learning, and not just being necessarily told all the time, here's what you're going to learn today, here's what we're doing. Now this is across Kansas, United States. So when kids feel like they are learning something, they become more engaged. It becomes more interesting to them. And so it's a challenge for educators today to be able to engage students sometimes, because we're just in a microwave, a fast type society now. It's a little different than what it used to be. And I think some of the things that we need to focus on here in Kansas, the vision for Kansas, is that we're continuing the vision for North Ottawa County Schools. Academic readiness is huge for college and career. We have to continue to focus on that. Psychosocial behavior, that's another important thing. If students aren't ready to come to school behaviorally, or they have issues that they have to deal with constantly, that's difficult for any student to be able to be in a learning environment and learn when they have issues that are outside of our control and probably their control as well. It's important that we have character education in our school system, and we do a great job throughout the district with character ed. Our job is to match career choices give our kids opportunities to see what type of careers are out there at a young age. You saw a couple months ago, one of our shows, we talked about our career advocates, our counselor, talked about our individual plans of study and how we try to move students forward, and giving them different career opportunities, showing them what career opportunities are out there, opportunities that we need to continue to give our students, was talked about last time's career and tech ed. Give our students those opportunities to go to Salina Tech, give our students the opportunity to take concurrent college classes while they're here in high school. So we continue to focus on those aspects of education, but then at the same time we need to continue, as we do now at the K-6 level, K-8 level, project-based learning throughout the district. Even in the high school, we have a high school class with project-based learning. Entrepreneurship class that we have, students are out running their own businesses, giving those students those opportunities. You saw the chicken house we have. I mean, we do a lot of great things here to be able to give our students opportunities for those cognitive skills to be developed. And we will continue to do that, and we'll continue to find just so many opportunities for each one of our students. Civic engagement we talked about, that's volunteering, being able to get out in the community. You'll see our students ringing bells. You'll see our student for Christmas. You'll see our students volunteering throughout the community. We have a volunteer day. So plenty of things that we continue to do in this school district to try to meet the vision that Kansas has. I think some of the things that you've seen or heard that the school district might be doing that's different, that's a little non-traditional way that maybe you and I grew up in school, we are doing some of those things. And change can be hard at first, change can be messy in the middle, and I tell you, but change can be great in the end. And so a lot of great things going on here in this school district, great teachers, great faculty. Just it's an amazing school district to be a part of. We are excited that Kansas did change their philosophies with state assessments, meaning that they're not near as important as what we've always put emphasis on them. And so the direction that education is moving is in a direction that we believe will give our students success in the world, that really, once again, there's jobs that have not even been created yet. So that's an important thing to remember. Education needs to continue to advance, just like the technology is advancing, just like careers and jobs are advancing. We can't continue to do the same thing. John Dewey said, if you teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. And I think that's something that we all need to keep in mind, that it's important that we continue to be progressive and move forward with our kids, but at the same time, just know that the school district has best interests of your students. And so thank you for today, for joining me here. And I gave you a lot of information really quick, and just hope that you have a great holiday and a nice Christmas. Thank you.